Kathy from Eclectic Images here with a sadder card to do today. I decided to do a variation on the Rainbow Bridge because I thought one time that we do make cards for friends is when they lose a beloved pet. And although it's not an easy one to do, the same as a general sympathy card's not an easy one to do, it really does help to express those emotions. So I was thinking of what's a different way to do a rainbow card with a pet. And I decided to play around with techniques that have been fascinating me with the 3D embossing folders. So I actually was looking at the thought of doing a rainbow of flowers with a pet in the center. So I started playing around with black cardstock and putting it through the 3D folder, and then with various inks on, because I thought what I was looking for was a fairly pastel look. So this one had the Versamagic Cloud White, which is the chalky pigment white ink pad done direct to paper. So that's rubbing the ink pad directly on the page. And then it's had various Catherine Pooler colours also done direct to paper. Then this one was the same with the Cloud White first, and then Versamagic chalk colours rubbed on direct to paper. This one was just without the Cloud White first. This was just the Versamagic chalk ink colours. And I really quite like, in particular, the first one with the Catherine Pooler inks and this one with just the Versamagic chalk inks. But then there's something in me said, no, I know I wanted pastel colour, but this is too subtle. So there's two different ways of doing this technique. One starts off with white cardstock and then blackens it. The other starts off with black cardstock and then lightens it to put the inks on. So what I decided to go with is the opposite technique. So let's see how we go with it. Okay, so the products that I've gone with, stamps wise, we've got Shadow, and then I've also used a sentiment out of our tiny sentiments range. So that's Shadow that you've seen a few times before. But the tiny sentiments range has been around for a while but doesn't get used a lot. And I just picked out the Thinking of You because I thought that gets the message across, but a bit more subtly than some of our sympathy messages. The 3D folder I've used is from the Couture Creations Vintage Tea collection, and it's the one that's got the flowers all around. Inks wise, we've got some Versafine Clair Nocturne and some Versamark for some embossing later on. And then for the colours, a bit of a rainbow in the Catherine Poolers, so Rockin Red, Orange Twist, Limoncello, Grass Skirt, Fiesta Blue and Crushed Violet. There will be some black embossing powder as well coming into there. Okay, so let's see how we go. I'm starting off with a larger piece of cardstock than what I actually want for my finished card, but that's so that when I put it into the embossing folder, once I put it in the folder, I want to be able to tape it. Oh, it helps if you open the folder at the right end. I was right in. Okay, so that's when I put it in, I can actually tape it down, and that way it's, because often with the blackening technique, you've got to ink up your embossing folder several times to get the ink black enough, and I don't want this card moving. So if I had my card smaller, there's a chance of it shifting. This will make more sense as we go along. Okay, but the first stage is to add some colour. So I'll start off with our rainbow of colours, and I'm using the medium-sized blending brushes to put the colour on. And I actually know that I don't need to go right to the edge because we're going to be trimming the card back. But I do need to come in, because we are trimming it, I do need to come in a little way. Now the cardstock I'm using is the Premium Smooth, so this will keep the colours nice and bright. As with most times when I do ink blending, I'm taking the colour a bit further than where I want it to be, so that as I do my blending, I can put my colour where I want it and then blend it back into that previous colour so that my blending is more seamless. And I'm afraid I'm sitting at a table that's nice and firm for stamping, but it's a little bit creaky when you start doing blending. So I apologise for table creaking sounds. So again, put this colour where you want it, then take it a little bit further out. Matthew's trying very gallantly to fix the creaky table for me. I will try and ignore him and just keep colouring. So pop the colour on where you want it, take it a bit further. Blend it back into that previous colour. That's how we get a lovely soft blend. Next one will be Limoncello. So you see I'm doing, rather than going straight across, I'm doing what will be a diagonal blend. And you do get some lovely interesting colours where your colours meet. So you can see this, there's a really good red-orange in there, and now we're getting a lovely orange-yellow happening. Again, take that out a little bit further. So next in our rainbow spectrum will be the green grass skirt. Oh, and I forgot this pad's been recently re-inked, so it's quite dramatic. That should cover when we do the embossing and the blacking, I hope, but I'll start off the card a bit more this time. That's better. Now I need to watch myself. I think Fiesta Blue has also been recently re-inked. So let's just start off the card in case. Yep, it's nice and vibrant as well. So I'm not going to get a good blend there because I have a big blob of green. Nothing is going to help that. Now I know the centre of my card will end up being black because I'm not sure how much of the colour I'm going to end up needing by the 3D folder. I am bringing my colours into the centre more than what I probably need to. Now a little bit of crushed violet. Now this one is in the Spa collection, whereas the others are all in the Party collection. So the Party collection of Catherine Pooler inks are all very, very vibrant. Spa collection is a lot more muted, but this is a really pretty purple. Suddenly the table's gone really squeaky on me again. Never mind, keep going. It's only for a few minutes. Maybe we'll put some extra background music over that bit. So I'm going to bring it right in and blend it between those two blue bits. So you can see by using, I work on the cotton blend cardstock a lot, but it's a slightly creamy tone to it. But you can see by using the premium white how vibrant these inks stay. So there we are, we've got our lovely background colours. Now we grab our embossing folder, pop the card in, and then I know that I think I'm going to have enough colour coverage where I need it. So I'll just grab the masking tape. Because I know I'm going to be trimming off the edges, it doesn't matter if I actually put a bit of masking tape over the card. So let's grab a bit of tape. right bit. Fold that over that edge to hold all that down. Oh, this is the most unenthusiastic masking tape I've ever seen. Let's hope it does the job enough. I'm going to have to put a little bit of double-sided tape on to hold the masking tape in place. How ridiculous is that? But I refuse to be beaten by it. Okay, let's peel that up. Put a bit of double-sided tape on. By now I've probably moved the card. Don't you love how pretty those colours are? Come on, lift up for me. Could have something to do with going over the top of wet inks. That's got it a little bit not wanting to play today as well. Right, there we go. Okay, masking tape's on. Embossing folder can be closed. Wonderful. Okay, open it back up, and now this is where it starts to look messy. We're going to get our Versafine Clair ink, and we're going to ink this whole panel. Do you love messy techniques? Because this is certainly one of them. Just tap over there so I don't get too many lines from the ink pad. Okay, now we close our folder. Bring our big shot into frame. I'm just going to move that paper pad out from underneath there so that it's not unbalancing the big shot. I find for the 3D folders, my bottom plates plus one, is it called a cover plate? One cover plate is enough. And roll that through. And I should have given the card a little bit of spritz with water first, but I was so busy mucking around with the tape that I didn't think of that. Okay, let's lift that out of the way. Lift our card out. And as I said, we probably need to do a couple of coats of black to get it dark enough. So we're going to open up. This is the wonderful dramatic part. Look at that. So now, as you can see though, we're not quite dark enough. So let's do another coat of black. Now don't be alarmed if it takes you a little bit of practice to get the hang of how many coats of black you need, how much black ink you need, getting your piece positioned right, all that sort of stuff. I definitely need more black, more around those bits. Definitely plenty around the edges of the flowers. Right. Hoping that hasn't shifted. There's the folder over again. Back. Right, let's see what we've got. See, isn't that amazing? I think that is just wonderful. So let's pull that out. We can take all the tape off, etc. Now, because I've used Versafine Clair ink, and I want to emboss on this panel, I would have to leave that for a while to dry because otherwise embossing powder will stick to everywhere where that ink is. But how wonderful does that rainbow collection of inks look? Now with my embossing folder, that will clean up fine. I will take that and give it a bit of a scrub just with some soapy water, and all that ink will come off, no problem at all. So we'll pop that to one side to do later. So I do have, because that takes a while to dry, I do have a panel that I've already done and dried, and it's been sitting around for a day or so, so it's ready to go with our embossing. As you can see, I've trimmed it back to a smaller size so that it will fit on the card front that I want to put it on. But that's the difference between what I thought I wanted, which was the subtle inks, compared with what I ended up, which is the brighter inks, and I'm really happy with that. So two different techniques. Either you can do it on the black cardstock, or you can do it on your white cardstock and then blacken it. Okay, now I've also pre-stamped the little thinking of you, and I've popped that up on 3D tape onto a little bit of black backing, and that'll be ready to go on when we have got the next bit done. Just going to give my hands a wipe so I don't get ink from my fingers over everywhere. And we've got shadow already lined up on a block. I'll get my black embossing powder ready. Give that card a little wipe with a bit of anti-static pad. So I'll just have a look at where I want to position shadow. Just work out which way up is better for the card to go. No, I think I'll stick with that way. And then that, I'll just sit in there for the moment, and that'll leave plenty, that's a nice little space to put our little sentiment strip in there as well. Okay, so let's ink him up with the Versamark. Now being a solid stamp, I want to really make sure I've got it very inky and that I haven't got a little hair across it. That would be very annoying. Come here, get off there. I did wipe over it to clean it before I started, but little hairs still have a way of getting in the way, don't they? Okay, make sure it's nice and inky. Carefully position it over the card before I pop it down. Now doing the black embossing on the black card is going to give me a subtle, elegant look, but we could certainly stamp a picture of a dog or a cat, anything that's going to, or a horse, anything that's going to suit for the recipient for their loss, and do it on a separate bit of card and then layer it onto this. Okay, so I'm not quite happy with the inking completely there, so I'm just going to grab my Versamark pen and just make sure I've got plenty of Versamark ink over that bit before I put the powder on. Grab my little brush. On the back. Oh, that's much better. Just make sure we don't have grains where we don't want them. So you do need to make sure that your Versafine Clair has had plenty of time to dry, or else you'll get black grains sticking everywhere. Now it is worth taking a moment just to do a bit of a tidy, just to make sure that you're really happy with it. Okay. I'll just pop that to one side and tidy that up in a few moments. Let's get our heat gun out, and this should be quite dramatic. Just do the back as I warm the heat gun up. Okay. He looks all velvety like that, doesn't he? Chasing his tail. There we go. So I really like the effect of black embossing on black card. I think it looks really good. Give that a moment to cool, and while it's doing so, I'll get my double-sided tape ready. Okay. Yep, can turn that over now. So double-sided tape on the back. And I'm using a wider tape here because we've got to get past all those divots from the 3D folder. I want there to be lots of area where the tape is gripping the card. Oh, I might even put a bit in the middle as well, just to give it that extra stick. It's going to be a challenge peeling it up with all the 3D-ness of it. Come on. Thank you. Make sure I've got it nicely pressed onto the card for a start. That will certainly help. Right, so I've got A6 base card. I often just hold the card upside down just to check what borders I've allowed myself. And I've gone fairly tight on this card. So now when I position that, I'm going to make it nice and close to that edge. Check that I'm pretty good top and bottom. And then I'll smooth from the center out. And really press it down so that I'm getting all that tape adhering. Okay, that's how we're looking. I like the contrast between the black and the colour. And then we've got our little sentiment panel. Now just before I stick it down, I'm just going to try it in a few spots and see where I like it. Do I want it overlapping him, or do I want it more just, maybe just overlapping very slightly? And press that into place. So there is our sympathy card for our friend who's lost their fur baby. And it's got the rainbow of colour and also our pet and our little subtle message. So I hope you liked that one. As I said, it's the blackened 3D embossing pattern 3D embossing folder can be done two ways, either on the black card or the white card, just depending on what effect you want to get from it. And I feel this is a lovely card to give to someone who's just lost someone. So it's a sad reason for a card, but that's often the time that we are sending cards and making cards for friends. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll have a try of the technique, and we'll see you again next time.